Hey guys, welcome to the fourth episode of the Quadridiots podcast. No Devsma today because this is a school project. I know that may be shocking. I know you might be scared. You might be quaking in your boots. That's fine though. I can
Oh, I
be
am.
a one-man show with three other men.
I'm here
Whoa.
too.
So we have our friends Crazy. Don't know what I was expecting with that. Lagoon. Well, and Calagoon, but I'm going to say Lagoon because that's less mentally straining.
No idea how to
And then
pronounce that.
Mohan. Say hi, Mohan.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
You sound like you're dying.
I'm not.
So, as you've read from the title of the video, today's topic is education.
With that, the what we're gonna be talking about is the future of education as well as what the past of education has looked like. Um, my first question here is, what is the No Child Left Behind Act?
Well, the No Child Left Behind Act was an act that made it so that schools had to endure regular testing, and if a school's entire testing score, like globally for all students, was too low, well, that school would be shut down permanently most of the time.
And
Oh,
wasn't the test very, very frequently?
hmm
Hmm.
I thought that was just like, oi, you can't. Uh, everybody has to be at the same level, and if someone's not, then we gotta wait until they are.
Well, I mean, the way I see it, if it was a law made to make childs take tests to make sure that they're up to standard, well, that's what they are.
Children.
I feel like there should be different types of testing for each individual school because in each individual school there's lots of different culture and people there.
I feel like having a
Oh,
whole
yeah?
bunch of
Share
like
my opinion on
these
this.
mini mega tests that if you don't do and enough people don't do, your entire school gets shut down. That's kind of not fair.
Yeah,
Like
I
because
just
agree.
like
It kind of seems.
just because a couple students don't want to.
to keep children from being able to get ahead because it encourages teachers to slow everything down to make sure that if someone's paying attention or if someone's having trouble learning, it encourages them to slow the entire class down to accommodate them. That way, the school doesn't get punished. Well, it's just they spread out a bunch of the tests, and then at the end, they have like basically the big test showing that they still remember the material. And I feel like it should be after each quarter.
It's just more of a
So I feel like there should be 4 tests per semester for
I feel like there should
each subject,
and
and
also I feel
then
like there
there's
should be
one big test at the end of the year.
yeah.
You kind of would propose like the map test, for example, being split up into smaller chunks. So you,
Yeah, so cuz like it's hard for students to go back to the first year of school and be like, I remember everything. So if they take a test on it the first year or the first quarter, they'll be like, okay, well, that might be on the big test.
I
And
feel
so
like
when they get
oh,
to the end, it's not such a big test, but it's still important.
I feel like we
Yeah,
should
that's
still have like some form of review so that we know that we're keeping our material in mind. But
Yeah,
an entire school shouldn't get shut down because we screwed up a review. The review shouldn't be for a grade. It should be you
exactly.
figuring out what you don't know. So your teachers can help you figure out what you don't know so that you know it. Instead of
that's one of the biggest issues.
you just failing because you don't know something.
Yeah, personally that's one of my biggest issues
Thankfully,
where
oh,
where it punishes the child for not knowing stuff. Despite trying to learn.
Um, I also it was
there was a thing called the education reform,
Hmm.
and that was a while ago, which was basically it was kind of like, or at least how fast it spread. It was kind of like the Abolish Slavery Act, or I forgot what it was called, because of how fast it spread. It was like wildfire. So basically, old schools. I forgot what system they used, but they used a system that was called the Common Core. It was a way of using tougher classroom standards in more than like 40 states of people. It's tougher classroom standards, and the teachers would still teach younger kids, but it would rely mostly on the older kids who already understand the material to teach the younger kids what that was.
Pretty sure there's a term for that, but I forgot what it was called. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's also in my notes. Uh,
Do you
well,
guys think that that was okay? Like,
no, I mean, yeah, because
Really, I feel like you shouldn't put the intensity and the weight of teaching someone on kids who are also trying to learn, because it basically be like your parents leave and then you're forced to not only parent yourself and keep up with everything, but also parent everyone else, and that can be a lot of people depending on your family.
well,
mm-hmm.
going back into the No Child Left Behind Act, that act states that schools have to show that students are making progress, and badly performing schools should be closed. I don't know how what you guys think about it, but that's pretty stupid.
Yeah,
To me, that seems way too extreme. It just maybe
It's
they should be given a warning and or
yeah.
At
extra
least
attention,
like
but I don't think shutting down would be that
and
necessary.
actually, it creates a cycle. Just think about it. So you perform badly, right? So you lose out on money. Then you don't have enough money to pay good teachers, so it basically traps schools in a cycle of progressively getting worse because there's nothing they can do to get better because they don't have enough funding.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be slightly the reverse. It should allow more funding to the people who need it instead of just people who do
Well,
well.
the
Then
thing about if you give more funding to the worst performing schools, that would take away Harvard's funding. Harvard is very, very harsh compared to any other college, and the only students who get in there are the students that perform very well. So if you start giving money to community colleges or colleges on the verge of becoming one, that takes away the speciality of Harvard, and that doesn't guarantee that the not so smart schools would become smart.
yeah, I'm saying like, there's a lot of issues in the plan. I was just
Yeah.
saying in general,
Yeah, I do also think
it
that it's
should. I'm saying
dumb
it shouldn't be that only rich. Yeah,
because, like, if you shut down a whole school, there's at least like 900 kids in ours. So imagine like our school shutting down because we didn't score high enough on the map test, right? Where would we go? I mean, the seventh graders would be having to go to any other middle school they can, which some of them are out of reach, so their parents would have to take them in the middle of the night and or be homeschooled.
yeah.
Yeah, that I don't exactly
It
agree with
really,
this
really
act, but
limits
meh, or at least the parts that I've
access.
heard about it.
thankfully the act is now and has been for a couple years now. It's gone. It's canceled. It's done.
Well, not
Beat
entirely.
abolished.
Well, an article I read states that it's still in play, but it's not as harsh. And lawmakers have heard the complaints of parents with this act, and well, parents and students overall. And it stated that it will be discussed by lawmakers as lawmakers, so not like as scholars or anyone else. just as lawmakers by Congress this upcoming spring to try and change this act.
Well, I feel like we've talked enough about the NC NTLB Act. I say we go on to the one of the next topics we had listed out, which
Mhm.
is the time we have to eat lunch.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that one's a harsh one.
The time we have to eat lunch, I feel like we could definitely use and benefit from more. Since when you get out
Thanks
of
to the
grade or elementary school, you don't get recess anymore. You don't have that time to socialize with your friends. So lunch is usually a good time to talk
Yeah.
with your friends, eat something. But then again, you only get like 20 minutes to do so.
Our
yeah, there are some school districts that
yeah, you know,
some have even it is required by law to give you I think 20 minutes to eat, but that's still only 20 minutes. So you still have to some people have to get food uh and sometimes it's not even enough food because of the Hunger Free Kids Act uh that everything has lean protein, fruit, lower fat and salt, but that's still fuel that some people need.
yeah.
It's like saying that all carbs are bad. No, you need some carbs.
And I think Crazy made an amazing point, and also the thing that so like amazed on how this is still in the system is how it's at least the minimum amount is 20 minutes. But if you look at France, at Paris, anywhere around there, their lunches are like 1 to 2 hours. Almost all their schools, right?
Yeah, actually, in some places, I think like in Japan, taking a nap at work is encouraged.
Yeah. And so I think like if you look at their test scores, they aren't doing worse than we are at all.
Another
And
thing to bring up while you're talking
yeah,
about
they do
the
much better because they have a lot more free time.
test scores thing, um, studies have proven that schools that have less homework usually have higher test scores because they have time to take a break. They're not just
Time to
having.
actually learn and focus stuff. And
Mhm.
Have time to take brain breaks
They
yeah,
and
have.
not be constantly
anyway, if you're
consumed by work.
people complain all the time about at work, yeah, being consumed by work. But as soon as it comes to children and their homework, like, oh, it's good for them. It's the same
yeah.
thing, just you
I
don't get
think
paid for it.
that's like outrageous considering the fact that these children want to be children, and the only reason they're like,
Yeah, it takes
I
away a
want to be
lot.
older, I want to be mature, do my own things, is because they're having their free time taken away because of homework.
There's
Being
this
told they
thing
can't do it, they have
that
to do.
one of our teachers, Coach Terrell, says repeatedly, and he says that he doesn't give us homework because he wants us to have time at home to be kids, to just be a child,
Yeah.
instead of just overpressuring us with more work that we have to get done because it's probably like 30-40% of our grade. Homework is a major part of your grade most of the time. Nowadays, homework is only
And
if you don't get work done in school done. But
Yeah,
back in
yeah, I
grade
much
school and
prefer
stuff, homework, you have to do homework. You get homework every day, and if you don't do it, well, that's a chunk of your like 30-40% just gone, just because you didn't do it.
Mhm.
Yeah, my most of my experience with homework has been if you don't get something done in class, then it's homework. But even then, they still give you ample time. Like most of my classes, they give me like an extra day or something from when
Yeah,
it's actually given to us. So we
like
still have extra time, even in class, to do it.
most of my teachers are like, obviously if you're sick, that part comes first, but it is still your responsibility to get it done. And that's some things that kids have to wrap their head around, even if kids complain about like, bro, I was sick, like why should I have to do the homework
because
or do the work? It's like cuz in a job you're gonna have to make that up. And so when they say that, I don't get mad, and they're just like that's the only homework you'd ever have if you're missing one day. And they never really give me homework, and that gives me so much time to have hobbies and pursue what I want to do. But like in grade school, like 1 through 5th, I had loads of homework, and it felt like as soon as I got out of school, which was around like 4, I had to do like an hour to 30 minutes of homework, get
And
it done, turn it in.
yeah, and it was the same thing when I was younger, where especially depending on how long it took me, sometimes I'd get home at roughly 4 because the bus would take a little while, and then I have to do a bunch of homework. And so then I'd be sitting there for an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, if it was taking really long. That's up to 6. My bedtime back then was 7, meaning that I would spend the whole time doing homework, have an
You'd
hour to eat
basically
dinner.
forever be at school.
Yeah, and it kind of gets rid of the whole point of school at that point, because there's no reason to go to school if you're just going to be doing homework for hours.
So
And what I hate about what teachers sometimes bring up is like they're like, well, in a job, you're still gonna have to do stuff at home. I'm like, well, yeah, but a
I'm
normal
getting
This
job for
isn't supposed to be work.
teenagers,
It's supposed to be learning and fun.
yeah, is for a normal job for teenagers and some adult people, you work from 9 to 5. That is a whole total of, let's count, guys, 9, 10, that's 1, 11, that's 2, 12, that's 3. Now you add 5 more. How much is that? 8 hours. How much do we have at school?
8 hours.
We have 8 hours, right? I think that's a perfect amount of time to teach us how long we have to have our attention span, right? And they give us lunch, but it's not a huge amount of time, right? I'm not worried about a huge amount of time. I just want like at least 30 to 40 minutes.
So
And it's like y'all give us homework, which basically extends our school time to at least 10 hours.
my
yeah,
problem with homework is that usually it's not really hard for me, but just because it's not hard for
yeah,
me,
for all of
and
us.
it does not mean that it's not going to be hard for other people who just don't learn as fast as other people. Like just because, let's say, like most of your students, they know the material, they got what they're supposed to do down, doesn't mean that you can have like 3 4 students who have no clue what they're doing and they want help, but they keep getting drilled with these homework assignments that they don't know how to do, and that's just slowly chipping apart from their grade. So eventually
Yeah, and
they
another
end up
thing is
having to
that
retake the year because they have to keep doing these homework assignments that they don't know how to do.
Yeah.
if they even miss like 1 or 2 days, then like basically, if you miss 1 or 2 days, if you have excessive homework, that can put you behind equivalent of like a month of work if you don't understand it and you have to do all over.
Yeah, and when I said like
What's happening in math
32
right now? Obviously,
when I said like 32 an hour of homework, I wasn't saying
light
that
end.
was all of my
That's
homework.
my light end.
First of all, that was grade school, and second of all, that was one piece of homework.
Yeah.
Now we have
Now we're
8 hours. So if we have homework for every single hour, that's 8 homework assignments that they want us to do as professional as we can. And so that would take at least, I would say, 3 hours to do if you don't fully understand.
Yeah, and then you have to get help from parents if you can, even if they understand it. Then that's a whole other can of worms.
Mm.
Like when
yeah,
I was younger, I'd say back in like the second
and
grade.
a lot of the issues.
Am I going or are you going? What's going on here?
I was gonna say roughly the same thing.
All right, because when I was in
Basically,
second
back when I was younger.
when I was in second grade, I had a problem with, I think it's called borrowing now. It's like the only way you can really do multi-digit subtraction
Yeah, I think it's
that I knew
borrowing.
of back then at least, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I can't ask for help because Common Core wasn't a thing
A lot of
back
the time they
when.
consider that cheating.
most people were in school, so they don't
And a
know
lot
what
of
this
time,
most of this is. So I have
and a lot
to figure out what I'm
of
doing.
other times, yes, in school they say that you were cheating, so they punish you for trying. They punish you by giving you lots of homework, and when you try to understand the homework, they punish you for asking for help because you're cheating and not learning by yourself, and they don't give you proper explanation.
Yeah. What's our next subject? I think we've
Another problem I
covered.
have is the time that we have to wake up to go to school. Like
That's
I don't
yeah.
I shouldn't
The
have to wake up at like 5:30 in the morning to go to school. Like I should have I'm still a child. I should still
yeah.
have like that a little bit of time to just get some more rest. Like waking
Yeah.
going to school at
That's
7,
yeah.
that's fine. But if my bus comes at like 6:45, I can't just stay asleep until like 6:30. So I have to wake up earlier so I can get all my stuff done, brush my teeth,
Mhm.
pick out my hair, make myself breakfast, get clothes on, shoes on, all that other stuff, and bring the things I need to go to school to school. I
Right. And like that's another topic. Our start time. We are here in KC, North Kansas City School District, and our start times for our middle school. We're in 8th grade, right?
mhm.
We're 13 to 14-year-olds, some 12. But if you're that young and you're having to wake up at 6:30 in the morning just to
Six
go to
thirty is
school.
not the problem. The thing is, the problem is that most of the time it's 5:30. 6:30, that's
Yeah.
justifiable. That's why I like our
Well,
late
6
Yeah,
starts.
well, here's the thing. 6:30 takes away a lot of our free time in the afternoon, right? We want to pursue our hobbies, but that means we got to go to bed at 10 just to get normal 8 hours sleep. One of my teachers actually brought up the point of they have to go to the school at like 5:30. They have to like be there around that time if they want to have enough time to set up. One of my teachers
So
said that,
why
and
are we?
they also said that normal start times for colleges around the world, not normal start times, but
Like an
ones that
average.
show high, yeah, no, ones that show high results still have a start time at 11
That makes sense because they have time
and
to
it
get their energy.
ends at 5. I feel like that's amazing because it's not making us stay in
Times
school and
that
pursue our dreams. It's saying you can go out and pursue these things if you want to.
and a
I
lot of
actually disagree.
colleges like that also have.
Whoa, hold on, hold on.
I actually kind of disagree with the whole 5:30 is bad. Yes, I agree 5:30 is bad. If we could shift it up, shift everything forward an hour so that you wake up at 6:30 instead of 5:30, I think it would be so much better. Cuz honestly, going to leaving school at 2 o'clock, well, nice. 3 is just fine. And there's and then that shifts everything forward an hour, and most problems go away. Because even if you go to bed at 10 o'clock at night and then wake up at 5:30, that's only 7.5, which isn't technically the recommended amount. But 10 to 6:30 is. It's like 8.5 hours, so you're overshooting.
Well, um, if you think about it, if you're like, well, that means I want to go to school at 11 and only have a set amount of time to go to school because I come out at 5. The thing about it is you're normally gonna wake up around 7 and or 8. So that if you wake up at 8, that gives you still 3 hours to do whatever you want, go to school, get out, do whatever you want. That allows you to sleep in longer. If you're feeling tired that day, you can go to bed at 10, wake up at freaking 11, and I just feel like that's kind of what I want.
Yeah, personally, 5 would be a little bit, but I would definitely say like waking up instead of starting at 11. Like I still think that's a great time. For me personally, my sleep cycle personally, I'm a night owl, so having a lot of the time off. So I'd say waking up about 8 to 9
Hmm.
still gives you a decent amount of time. Because if you wake up at 8, that's 4 hours. That's four. So you get at it like an hour earlier. No, 2 hours earlier.
Yeah, my elementary started at 9.
Yeah, and that was so good because it gave us a lot of time to go rest, recover each night. But it's also because a lot of the time they say you only need 8 hours of sleep. That's for long-term survival. Mental
No, actually,
health
there
suffers a lot.
a lot of what like my parents say and what I've seen around is that like people say if you're just going into your teenage years or you're like 14 to like 6, 8 hours of sleep is recommended the lowest. They
Nowhere
want
near
you to
enough.
have 10 hours of sleep. And so that would push
Is that
your
they'll be the
if you
lowest.
want to be fully energized for the day, that means you have to go to bed around 8 as a 14-year-old. That seems wild to me.
And I still do that, and I still wake up tired. Like I go to bed around 8.
Mhm.
That's when and I still wake up tired, which shows that even though I'm getting 10 hours sleep, it's still not enough because it's less of the amount of sleep we get at this point, and more of waking up early, still night out. So our cycles of body being able, basically shifting our sleep unnaturally early. 8 o'clock still isn't enough. 5:30 isn't good enough. We need more sleep than just 10.
The problem isn't
Okay.
the amount of sleep that we're getting. The problem is the times that we waked up.
Yeah.
In our body, I'm pretty sure it's a chemical. It's something that makes
Melatonin.
us.
Yeah.
It's. I don't know if it's melatonin or not, but there is something in our body that makes us sleepy if we wake up at certain times. You could be asleep for like 12 hours, wake up at 5, and you wake up and you're like completely tired. That's because this chemical, it goes away. It starts when you're like at your average sleep time, and it goes away
Around
like
8
yeah, like 8 to 9. I mean 7 to 8.
in the morning.
Mm-hmm. And that's why usually when you wake up and you have a good amount of sleep, you're still sleepy, because that it's not gone. And that's why when you go through a little bit of school, you feel more energetic because the chemical's gone. So you can move, you can be a child, you can do what you need to do with energy.
Yeah, and the National Institutes of
Thing
Health
that was what I
website,
was saying.
it says the chemical that makes us fall asleep, be sleepy, and or make us sleepy
That's
is
melatonin.
melatonin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So the question that I think we're getting at is what are the core things that we would love to have changed?
well,
Not that we would
First
like
off,
to have changed, but that we
that
feel
we
we
need
need.
well, I feel like the three core things that we need changed is lunch times, uh, the things that we have to do after school,
standardized testing.
yeah,
Lunchtime,
standardized testing, and
standardized
then
testing,
uh, the time that we wake up and go to school. Because
homework, and then wake up times.
yeah,
Mhm.
well,
Well, I think that sums it up.
has the education reform, was it beneficial? It's
Ooh, that's a weird one.
I think it was beneficial in some ways and less so in others, but it overall
I think
could
it
be better,
was
could be worse.
I think it was completely beneficial because we basically got free standard level education without having to
Well,
have some second source guardian that's like not even 15,
That's
16.
the thing.
well, hold on. Wait. But that also came with less teaching from the teachers and had more of the older students teach.
The education reform was the thing that got rid of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had my mind twisted.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that the education reform was beneficial. Because instead of pushing all of this teaching on like people in their mid-teens,
Hmm.
it's on people who want to teach, who have lived their life and say, "Hey, I want to teach children. I just want to make the world a better place for them. I want them to have a good life as a child. Not,
Oh,
I
right.
just want to get my stuff done. I don't even know half the stuff I mean. I already forgot like three of the things that I learned, and I have to repeat the things that I do know to these little children, and I don't want to have to do this. I want to be an engineer. I don't want to be a teacher.
Right. I was thinking of the Common Core Act. Yeah, but I think the real question that I don't know if we know is what problem arose from the education reform?
A lot of the what I would say is a lot of educational restriction, and a lot of educational downfall because a lot of the time it got paid for with taxpayer money, meaning they weren't happy about it. When it was you would pay if you wanted your child educated, it's now everyone pays even if they don't have children being educated, which overall led to a stigma of it's wasting my money, allowing for the downfall of the quality of education, making it more generalized, standardized, and therefore corporate in a way.
Hmm.
I don't know, but I'm
Um,
hungry. I'm gonna
I'm
go eat
I think
something.
that's one of the major flaws.
okay. See you,
Bye.
crazy.
Well, I feel like we should get to wrapping our episode up.
Well, I was just gonna say, I was looking into it, and on the Education Week, www.edweek.org, it says that one of the problems that arose was too few teacher-led reforms. So, like, too few
That's
teachers
the thing is a lot of the
teaching.
time that's the thing that comes with the societal stigma around teaching, where it's seen as a low end job when it's
Mhm.
roughly around I'd say the same importance as doctors. Think about it. Who teaches the doctors? What do you call
That's
someone
true.
who teaches? And who needs to teach the doctors? A teacher or a professor. Professors get paid a lot. Because think about it. Two separate words have two separate significances. If you say I'm a professor, you're looked upon much more favorably than you say I'm a teacher. It's a societal stigma of it being
Yeah.
a low job.
So, let's wrap this up with one big question. From what we know now and the problems we have now, we can all say that these branched off from the reform, but also the reform gave us a lot of stuff. So, do you guys think the education reform was worth it?
Definitely.
I think it was also.
He said it. He said
I
the
think
description.
I agree with you, Mom.
All right, well, I think that's a wrap.
Yeah,
Wrap.
thank you for tuning in for the fourth episode of the Quadridiots, third episode from last weekend.
Episode where
Thank you.
robots that
Hey,
robots where did
I'm doing this outro
that
here.
Cathedron has the
I,
one
June,
where
June,
mayonnaise
stop,
I
June,
has
gotta
stop,
finish
June,
this
stop, June,
outro.
stop.
Alright, give it up for Mohan, Lagoon, or in Calagoon, and then Crazy. And then, of course, your host, me. Thank you for
See
tuning
you
in.
on the next
I
one.
don't expect this episode to get many views. It's school related, but then again, our first episode, which was literally titled School, that got a good amount of views. So I hope to see you in the next episode. And
next
if
title.
you like any of these people, let me know so I can see if I can get them into future podcast episodes. But that's it. Have a good day. See ya.